After Gu Moyuan achieved fame and success, he married Su Lingxian, who had accompanied him through many battles. He had said that I, a pampered lady not fit to endure hardships, was unworthy of being the wife of a lifelong general. Su Lingxian transformed into a noblewoman of high standing. At the banquet, someone asked her, "You are just the daughter of a house servant. How did you become the general's wife?" She glanced at me, covering her mouth with a light laugh. Of course, I was with him when he was still a low-ranking soldier. I'm not the kind of person who lounges at home to benefit off others. Later, the woman he thought couldn't bear hardship donned armor and went to war for the country. Why be the wife of a general when being a great general is better? I waited for Gu Moyuan for years, and he married someone else. My father came to scold me, saying I wasted years of my life for an unfaithful man, leaving me an old maid with no one wanting to marry me. Mother wept silently and began to arrange marriage proposals for me through others, but I'm already not as endearing as young girls. Not only does no one propose to me now, but I also became a topic of gossip because of Gu Moyuan's betrayal. Helplessly, Mother lowered her standards. She said the family background doesn't matter as long as I get married, so I won't end up lonely and be laughed at. In fact, I've long been a joke. Since Gu Moyuan defeated the barbarians, achieved great military success, and was given the title of General of the South by the Emperor, I've been a colossal joke. S city is large, but he purposefully deterred here just to show me. He wants to show me that even Gu Moyuan has a day when thousands admire him. He also wants to show my father that the poor boy he despised has become a prestigious general, so he left me, choosing the girl who accompanied his journey as his wife. Even though Lingxian is delicate, she can accompany me in battles. As for the Leaf family lady who stays in the boudoir, she just wants to reap the benefits. These were his exact words. Soon, his words spread to S city and reached my ears. Han Bing secretly wiped his tears, acting like a little crybaby, though he's a big man. He said, "Miss, if not for your kindness, how would Gu Moyuan have survived that winter? If I had known, you shouldn't have saved him. Let him freeze in the snow. Gu Moyuan isn't a bad person. Don't speak of him like that, otherwise, with my discerning eyes, I wouldn't have taken a liking to him." Han Bing took a breath. "Then, miss, will you just forgive him?" "Forgive? I only said he isn't a bad person, which doesn't mean I will forgive him. He betrayed me, turned my hopes futile, wasted years of my life. For that alone, he doesn't deserve my forgiveness. I only wish he won't regret it in the future." Not long after Gu Moyuan's wedding, I received an invitation from the capital. Opening it, every word was in Gu Moyuan's handwriting. Knowing him for over a decade, no one is more familiar with that strong and forceful handwriting than me. The message on the invitation was simple. Gu Moyuan's wife is pregnant, and they were holding a special banquet, inviting me to attend. Han Bing couldn't stand it. "Miss, isn't he deliberately insulting you? You mustn't go." "Why not go? Not going would make me seem petty, wouldn't it?" Father didn't want me to have any more involvement with Gu Moyuan and planned to refuse for me. I looked at my furious father, reminding him, "Father, Gu Moyuan now isn't the poor beggar he was who couldn't even afford a meal." Father fell silent and slumped into his chair. "I should have locked you up and forced you to marry Mr. Chen's son. I offended Gu Moyuan back then. Who knows how he'll retaliate against me now." Father didn't like Gu Moyuan, thinking he had no power or status. Our Li family is a merchant family, quite reputable in S city. Though not as grand as officials, still not a match for Gu Moyuan back then. In pursuit of marrying me, Gu Moyuan was publicly humiliated by my father, causing a scandal that humiliated him. To drive him away, Father secretly used many underhanded tactics. Now that fate has turned, Gu Moyuan has become beyond our Li family's reach. It's the perfect opportunity for him to avenge past humiliations. But Father isn't a bad person. He believes that a good match makes the best marriage for a lady and has painstakingly chosen a husband for me. I'm the only daughter in the family. Mother couldn't bear any more children after having me. Father didn't consider leaving mother because she couldn't bear more children, nor did he take any concubines. Despite his tough talk and soft heart, saying he doesn't like Moyuan, he never forced me to marry someone I don't like, especially after Moyuan became successful and married someone else. My father was even less fond of him. That little upstart. So what if he's a general now? Back then wasn't he just a laborer in our family? I quickly intervened. Father, please watch your words. Moyuan, in order to make a living, became a servant for our Li family. He was strong and honest, and if it weren't for the mutual feelings between us, my father surely would have valued him and made him the household manager. Now, with statuses reversed, Moyuan was no longer the servant he once was. Father snorted and left with a swish of his sleeve. Han Bing approached me hesitantly. Miss, are we really going to the capital to see that heartless man? We are. Since he went to great lengths to send me the invitation, isn't it just to embarrass me in person? Not going would waste his gracious invitation. I squeezed the envelope, my fingertips pressing hard, tearing a big hole in the invitation. Outside, the sun was shining beautifully, creating a dappled light beneath the treetops, but for some reason, at this moment, I couldn't feel any warmth. Moyuan had a change of heart and even got that woman pregnant, putting me in an incredibly awkward situation. Who in all of S City didn't know that I, Li Jingsai, had waited for an impoverished man for years, only to find my love marrying someone else. My mother, upon learning that Moyuan's wife was pregnant, feared I wouldn't be able to handle it, so she stayed with me night after night. I smiled again and again to reassure her. Mother, don't worry. Your daughter isn't so weak. Moyuan abandoned me, but does that mean I can't live on? Mother, however, said, Good daughter, although our Li family does hold official positions, we're still a wealthy merchant family, and surely there would be someone willing to marry you for the sake of our vast family business. Mother, actually, I'm not desperate to get married. Mother's worried face instantly became stern. What nonsense are you saying? A girl should be married when she's grown. How can you utter such disgraceful words? Daughter, you mustn't have such thoughts again. Yes, Mother, I will remember. Only then did Mother's expression soften. Jingsai, the most important thing for a woman in her lifetime is to find a husband, be a good wife and mother, and keep the house in order. That's the foundation of being a woman. I understand, Mother. I didn't rush to contradict her. Instead, I acted very obediently. Marrying and having children was never my life's goal, but my family didn't think this way. In their eyes, a girl not married by a certain age would be subject to gossip. I went to the capital as planned and strode boldly into Moyuan's general's residence. Su Lingxian, upon seeing me, openly touched her pregnant belly. Have you been well these past years, miss? I raised my hand in greeting. I've been well. I must also congratulate the lady for soon becoming a mother. Su Lingxian and I had never met before, only knowing she was born to a servant of a wealthy family. Meeting her today, I realized she must be quite remarkable to accompany Moyuan to the battlefield. Su Lingxian smiled with narrowed eyes. Isn't it thanks to you? Her eyes carried an unhidden hint of pride, but she quickly reined it in. Her face was worn, yet momentarily appeared very arrogant. She was indeed an excellent woman, struggling along with a man who had nothing at the beginning, deserving of my sincere admiration. She was worth Moyuan abandoning me for her. No need to thank me. It's something you deserved. Seeing my calm demeanor, her eyes showed a bit more urgency. Miss Li, you and Moyuan are in the past. You are a noble lady, unlike someone lowly like me. Surely you understand propriety. I burst into laughter. Miss Su, you really don't need to guard against me like this. You have shared hardships with Moyuan and such loyalty. How could I ever compete? It's best this way. Miss Li doesn't seem like someone who clings or rudely tries to take advantage. Su Lingxian made a courtesy gesture and walked away, supporting her waist. At the start of the banquet, I was surprised not to see Moyuan. In principle, during such an important occasion which was hosted by his Gu family, He had no reason to be absent. Gu Moyuan, now successful, lived in a home that appeared humble but was filled with people of prestigious status, particularly those noble women from the capital clustered around Su Lingxian, chatting nonstop as though they were long-lost friends. A lady touched the hairpin on her head and smiled. I heard the lady was born to a servant. How did you become the general's wife? Su Lingxian glanced at me, sipping my drink, and chuckled, covering her mouth. Of course, it was by standing by the general's side when he was still a mere soldier, unlike those who only know how to enjoy the rewards of others without enduring hardship. Her words were met with thunderous applause. That lady continued, "Oh dear, I heard General Gu was once impoverished, even worked as a laborer for a merchant family in S City. He had a deep affection for the daughter of that family. She waited for him for years." Su Lingxian's face didn't look pleased, and she gazed at me with quite some resentment. I found it tiresome and left the Gu family's door. This time, going to the capital, it was solely to end the fate between Gu Moyuan and me. Since he doesn't want to see me, why should I stay here any longer? On the way back, a group of bandits blocked my path. They carried large blades and damaged my carriage. Han Bing, despite his tall and strong appearance, had no fighting skills and was quickly subdued by the group. The bandit leader stopped in front of me, his sharp eyes scanning me up and down. "What a beauty you are! Killing you would be such a waste. Why not come with me to the mountains and be my village wife? Whatever benefits you've taken, I can give you double." I, Li Jingsai, never offended anyone, yet after just a trip to the capital, I attracted assassins. The person behind this was not difficult to guess. The bandit's eyes circled before pointing his knife at me. "It's not about money now. I've taken a liking to you." I didn't show any fear, and as he drew near, I quickly snapped his neck. "No money? Then your life will do." When Gu Moyuan appeared with a gun, what he saw was me killing with precision. He stood there, shocked, with the gun raised. You know martial arts?" "What I've learned for self-defense." "Nothing extraordinary." Gu Moyuan watched me from afar, opened his mouth, then put away the gun and walked towards me. "Jingsai." For General Gu to address me this way, I can't quite comprehend the call of Jingsai. Han Bing suddenly burst out, "Gu Moyuan, you ungrateful wretch! How dare you deserve my lady's affection?" Gu Moyuan was angry, but before he could speak, I escorted Han Bing onto the horse with one hand. "Why the fuss? Return to S City and ensure you're safe. I will arrive shortly." I patted the horse. It neighed loudly and carried Han Bing away. As Gu Moyuan approached, I stepped back a few steps. "General Gu, please have some self-respect." "Jingsai, do we really have to drift apart like this?" He paused and continued, "These years, Lingxian has been through life and death with me, nearly losing her life several times. With such kindness, not marrying her would defy heaven's justice. Honorable deeds. General Gu is indeed faithful and honest." Hearing this, Gu Moyuan immediately frowned. "Jingsai, no need to be so sarcastic. You know best how your family treated me back then." "Oh, and then what?" "The feelings between us are rare. Although you can't be the main wife, being a concubine wouldn't disgrace you. If I join you, how would your wife manage?" Gu Moyuan hesitated. "Lingxian has a big heart, always generous. She certainly wouldn't mind accepting you into the house." He stared at me sharply, clearly hoping for my response. I walked over, looked him in the eye, raised my hand, and slapped him across the face. "Gu Moyuan, don't make me look down on you. Back then, the one making me wait for him to return and formally propose was him. Later, the one who abandoned me for fame and married another was him. Now, the one to shame his wife by wanting to take me as a concubine was still him. How could I not know that in years, the once bold and spirited Gu Moyuan had become so vulgar?" Gu Moyuan staggered back several steps after my slap. I had been trained in martial arts from a young age, so my strength naturally was formidable, leaving him touching his face with a look of disbelief. I turned to leave, and he called out behind me, "Li Jingsai, Our matter has spread all over S City and has now even reached the capital. If you don't marry me, who in S City would dare to marry you? I turn my head. And why must I marry? In this world, one does not have to pursue love to live a long life. I mounted the horse, holding the reins, and quickly disappeared. Returning to S City, just as Moyuan said, indeed no suitors came to my door. This time, it was not due to my age, but because the matter of my journey to the capital to see Moyuan had already spread wildly. By the time I returned to S City, people thought I still had lingering feelings and went to beg Moyuan for reconciliation. Considering Moyuan's reputation, those originally willing to marry me for the Li family's wealth now backed off. I personally didn't mind, but my parents worried themselves gray with concern. Every time they saw me, they sighed, only a step away from pulling a servant from home to be a son-in-law. I never quite understood why a woman's life must rely on marrying to be deemed perfect. They pressured me to marry down, even if the man wasn't as good as me. In their view, as long as someone would marry me, I should be grateful. Such thinking was too ironic. By coincidence, half a year passed, and my mother unexpectedly became pregnant. At nearly 40, my mother's pregnancy was considered a high-risk pregnancy. My father was overjoyed and held a feast at home, inviting all the merchants in S City. Everyone of significance in S City came, including Moyuan. He supported Su Lingxian, who was 8 months pregnant, and came bearing generous gifts to our home. Su Lingxian's belly was very large, appearing like twins. She congratulated me. This time it's my turn to congratulate Miss Li. I glanced at her belly and smiled. The same to you. Moyuan watched us from the side, his expression surprisingly calm. My father came up, his face full of smiles. For General Gu to attend the feast, my humble home's honor is truly heightened. This is the fake smile typical of merchants, often masking insults unspeakable behind such polite facades. Moyuan revealed a sarcastic smile. Mr. Li, your politeness almost made me forget that you are a deceitful merchant. Father's expression faltered. Why would General Gu say such things? Mr. Li, take a good look at this high threshold. Years ago, you had my birth characters carved on it to humiliate me thoroughly, just to keep me from entering your home. Time has passed. Hasn't your memory grown so frail? Miss Li. Hearing this, I stepped forward. General Gu, now that you're a father yourself, would you let your own daughter marry a man with nothing to his name? Moyuan fell silent. Su Lingxian clutched at Gu's arm and forcefully dragged him away. Father wiped the sweat from his face, his legs weakening as he fell back. I quickly supported him. Father, don't be afraid. Moyuan is not such a villainous person. You humiliated him that day. He's just returning the favor equally. As long as he doesn't threaten Father's life, what harm can a few insults do? Neither filthy words nor rumors could truly harm us. Before the banquet ended, I returned to my own courtyard. I stared at the garden there, lost in thought. All these flowers were planted by Moyuan while he worked here years ago. He always said, Jingsai, I, Moyuan, will surely make something of myself one day, then I'll come to marry you grandly. Sadly, that promised sedan never graced the front door of the Li family. Years have passed, and these flowers have bloomed vibrantly every year, except this year, when they wilted soon after blooming. Hanbing noted, Miss, the wall is too high, preventing the branches from reaching out, which is why they didn't bloom well. With that, he arranged to have the wall lowered a bit. It wasn't until Moyuan returned to the capital and was honored that I realized these weren't the flowers he had planted back then. The person was no longer who they were, just as these flowers were no longer the ones from before. I had Hanbing bring me a long knife. His eyes filled with doubt. Miss, even if these flowers didn't bloom beautifully, you don't have to destroy them. They're just flowers. I waved the knife, cutting down the flowers until they lay scattered. Only after every branch and blossom lay on the ground did I toss the knife aside, feeling somewhat relieved. Hanbing wanted to say something, but then his expression suddenly changed. I followed his gaze and turned around to see Moyuan standing at my courtyard door, his face pale. He still held the watering can in his hand. Jingsai, do you hate me this much? General Gu, you've overthought. These flowers didn't bloom well this year. Destroying the roots is necessary for them to be reborn, to bloom into the most beautiful flowers. Moyuan threw the watering can aside and turned to leave. Just after he left, Su Lingxian came to visit. She was far more courteous than when we had met at Gu's residence. Miss Li, my husband has often stared longingly at your portrait. I think you still hold a place in his heart. Her eyes reddened, and she quickly lowered her head to sip tea. I sighed and changed the subject. You are younger than me by far, yet your cunning is terrifying. Su Lingxian's previous master was someone I knew who couldn't help but admire her when mentioning Su Lingxian. She said that since Su Lingxian entered the household, she had won the affections of several young lords and thrived there. She managed relationships skillfully, not only amusing the old lady, but also maneuvering herself into a position of influence in the household. A mere servant's daughter achieving such success was no small feat. She lifted her head slightly upon hearing this. I don't know what Miss Li means. What do I mean? I poured her some tea. You wrote the invitation for me to come to the capital, didn't you? And spread the rumors of my greed and lack of dignity to S City, didn't you? What Gu Moyuan admires most is those who face life and death with unwavering courage, those who fight tenaciously in darkness to find a way forward. Su Lingxian showed such bravery and resolve by accompanying him to the battlefield, qualities that Gu Moyuan did not find in me. Thus, in the endless comparisons, he favored her. Yet, having chosen Su Lingxian, he naturally felt some guilt. So, how could he have shamelessly invited me to his family's banquet in the capital? That invitation must have come from Su Lingxian herself. She has been by Gu Moyuan's side for years. Her imitating his handwriting isn't surprising. She probably did this to test how sincere my feelings for Gu Moyuan remained. Such elaborate schemes for what purpose? With such a clever mind, being caught up with a man seems overly tragic. But everyone has their pursuits, and others' choices are none of my concern. Su Lingxian, even when I exposed her pretense, still didn't admit to those actions. She claimed earnestly, Miss Li, why would you falsely accuse me? My husband and I have weathered hardships together for many years. I have no intent to take something undeserved. Oh, all right. She froze for a moment, the words she was about to utter caught in her throat. We are genuine, all right. Su Lingxian pinched the corner of her clothes, her face covered in beads of sweat the size of beans. I secretly sensed that something was amiss. She immediately clutched her stomach and cried out in pain, my stomach hurts so much. Such commotion drew the attention of everyone who was attending a banquet in the main hall of the estate. They all rushed over and, seeing the situation, turned their suspicious eyes towards me. My father, in a fit of rage, slapped me across the face. The general's wife had an incident in your courtyard, and you're still not truthfully accounting for it. I bowed and replied, Father, your daughter knows some medical skills. Why not let me take a look at Madam before considering other actions? Gu Moyuan held Su Lingxian in his arms, his eyes burning with anger. Miss Li, I need an explanation. Isn't finding a doctor the most important thing right now? If General Gu wants an explanation, he can ask Madam about it himself once she's safe and sound. Su Lingxian shivered in his embrace. Gu Moyuan ignored me and quickly carried her out of the courtyard. Before leaving, he stopped with his back to me. Li Jingsai, with your jealousy, how will you ever find a place in this city? Jealousy? We've known each other for so long, and now he thinks I'm a jealous person. My father dispersed the banquet, looking at me with deep concern. Did I hit you too hard? I shook my head. How could you have, father? You acted to save my life and calm Gu Moyuan's anger. How could your daughter not understand that? The general's wife is not easy to deal with. You must break off any contact with Gu Moyuan in the future. My father speaks the truth. If Su Lingxian could target me because Gu Moyuan still has lingering feelings for me, Who's to say others won't push me into the abyss because of my other dealings with Moyuan? Fortunately, S City is not where I plan to stay for long. Late at night, I packed my bags and took a lingering look at this familiar place. Han Bing reluctantly handed me my long sword. Miss, with the two countries at war, if you rashly enlist and something happens, what would Master and Madam do? It's not a concern. If I die, it will be for the country. To die wrapped in horse skin is better than being trapped in inner chambers. Then let Han Bing go with you, Mississippi. He looked at me expectantly. I hesitated for a long time before finally nodding. I didn't intend to lose out either, so I grabbed his neck. Men defend the country. Women aren't falling behind. What? Only men can bring glory to the country, but we can exert our strength. Seeing my life and death struggle, Deputy General Chi's eyes flickered once. He let go of his hand. Seeing your callous hands, you seem to be a practitioner of martial arts. I will see how a woman like you qualifies to fight on the battlefield alongside men. From then on, Deputy General Chi watched over me constantly, seizing every opportunity to mock me. Over time, everyone in the army knew that I, the new recruit, had offended Deputy General Chi and was repeatedly targeted by him. Until Moyuan inspected the army camp and discovered the shortage of supplies. Deputy General Chi found an excuse to brush him off. Moyuan believed him and ordered people to return to the nearest town to prepare provisions. Who would have thought the new supplies would be intercepted on the way, leaving the soldiers so hungry they were gnawing on bark? Having lost their fighting spirit, the Z Kingdom's forces launched a massive attack on the camp, torch in hand, slaughtering indiscriminately. We were so starved that, even holding our weapons, our hands shook. Moyuan happened to be heading south, and Deputy General Chi mysteriously disappeared. I led the soldiers in resistance, seeking a way to survive amidst the bloodshed. Wang Chong spat. To hell with it. Even if I die, I'll take a few with me. Han Bing's hand trembled while holding his weapon. Miss, you go. We couldn't go. The enemy came with overwhelming force, as if premeditated. I watched comrades fall in front of me, also young. Just a few days ago, we chatted and fantasized about life after the war. Today they died here. Wang Chong was cut 3 times, clutching his wound, blood bubbling from his mouth. He said, General Gu will save us. As he said, Moyuan truly came. He arrived with nearly 10,000 ironclad cavalry, encircling the Z Country Army's main forces, and won the battle. He sat on his horse, looking down at us from above. You guys managed to hang on until now. Deputy General Chi appeared behind him. At this moment, I understood everything. Deputy General Chi avoided clashing with the Z Country forces, purposely exhausting our supplies. When Moyuan inspected the camp, he only pretended to act and then turned away. All of this was to use us as bait to lure the Z Country Army's main forces. We had become pawns ready to be sacrificed at any moment. When did Moyuan become so ruthless? This was truly his camp, and the soldiers here were under his command. How could he be so heartless? I carried Wang Chang's body off the battlefield and found a place to bury him. Moyuan sat silently on horseback behind us. Once I finished carving Wang Chang's gravestone, Moyuan furrowed his brow and spoke. No one to marry you. So you come here to cause trouble? I stared into his eyes, filled with concern and an almost imperceptible hint of mockery. He used to say I was just someone enjoying the fruits of others' labor, unworthy of the battlefield or of him. Now that I've joined the battlefield, does he still look down on me? Fortunately, I joined the army not for him. That general's wife role, whoever wants it can have it. My pursuit is to return home gloriously as a distinguished general. I pointed to Wang Chang's grave. Moyuan, when you set your plan, did you never care for your comrades' lives? Wang Chang admired Moyuan deeply, dreaming of fighting alongside him and protecting the people, yet he died in Moyuan's scheme. He paused for a while before speaking. I know he was innocent, but with sacrifice comes gain. I've noted their merits, and the Emperor will amply honor them. I gave a bitter smile and brushed past him. Someone who schemes against his own brothers, Why should I fight for them? If he can scheme against others today, he can just as easily scheme against me tomorrow. Moyuan stopped me. Jingsai, the army camp is not the martial world. No matter how skilled you are a woman, how can you make a career here? No need for your concern. I left the camp and headed north to the border. Along the way, Hanbing was puzzled. Miss, why has Moyuan become so cruel, scheming against his own soldiers? Is he still the same Moyuan? The human heart is enigmatic. How could I know? The Moyuan of old prioritized the people, putting lives above all. His actions and words, the Moyuan I see now seems to have changed. Is it his nature, so cleverly masked, or did he change quietly over years of warfare? Hanbing saw my calm demeanor and was unsure. Miss, do you think General Sun will take us in? He will. Why? I looked into the distance. Amidst the swirling sands, I seemed to see the path to my future. Having served under Deputy General Chi for over half a year, I learned some of the anecdotes between Sun Haiken and Moyuan. The two previously worked under the same leader, but often clashed due to differing opinions. Sun Haiken was calm and reserved, preferring stability to achieve the greatest benefit with the least sacrifice. Moyuan was different. In battle, he sought victory at any cost. Their relationship was most strained during negotiations with the Huns. Though Moyuan won, defeating them, he suffered heavy losses, with mountains of fallen soldiers and displaced civilians. Due to that battle, the nation consumed most of its main forces. As a result, the recruitment for the army has never stopped, even though the war has not ended. This also emboldened the Z country to launch unabashed attacks on our nation. Ever since Sun Haiken and Moyuan had conflicting opinions regarding the attack on the barbarians, Sun Haiken requested to head north to the frontier, ensuring he wouldn't encounter Moyuan, who was stationed in the south. Sun Haiken might not allow a woman like me to appear in his camp, but if he knew I traveled far after a fallout with Moyuan to join him, I reckoned he wouldn't refuse me either. As I expected, Sun Haiken did not refuse me entry into his camp. Holding his beautiful companion, he sat grandly with a drink, casting me a casual glance. Although I was disguised in men's clothing, I couldn't escape his keen eye. A woman can don armor and fight for the country, truly a heroine who lacks any man, he remarked seriously. However, let me be clear here. Ability matters above all. Woman or man, without skill, you won't earn meat or drink, let alone honor in battle. I knelt, clasping my fists. I understand. After that, I stayed under Sun Haiken's command for years. During these 5 years, I rose from a lowly soldier to a squad leader, then a company leader, slaying enemies who dared to knock at our gates. The more I killed, the faster my promotions came, from a commander of 10 to 1,000 strong, then deputy general, finally becoming Sun General's trusted aide. Hanbing had been by my side for so long, his skills also improved. Annually, he would always gaze at me with his wide, sparkling eyes. Miss, you are Hanbing's sturdy branch. I chuckled. I'm just a guide. You yourself are your own sturdy branch. True strength lies in self-reliance, not on others. Hanbing understands. I believed Hanbing could forge himself into the strongest branch and find peace in the future. Yet, who would have thought he'd lose his life at Luaga Gorge that late autumn? I led the troops to repel El Country's army, pursuing them to Luaga Gorge. Ahead lay the border city of El Country. Seizing this chance would mean capturing the gorge, then further annexing the city. With over 1,000 soldiers behind me, if anyone ambushed us in the gorge, survival would be impossible. Yet Hanbing said, such an opportunity, if missed, won't come again. In his eyes, I saw unprecedented determination. He wished me to wager these thousands of troops on a presumptive chance. I pondered deeply and refused him in the end. After all, I'm not Moyuan, unwilling to send these men to die with me. Hanbing didn't choose to turn back with me. Instead, he resolutely saluted me. Deputy Lee, this is the chance for the assault. If you're unwilling, then I'm willing to lead as the vanguard. With that, he roared and charged into the gorge. With a flick of the reins, the soldiers behind me subsequently followed. Enemy soldiers appeared on the gorge, arrows in hand, striking down those who crossed. Han Bing was hit by arrows, blood spurting from his mouth. I ordered our archers to fire at will, and during the enemy's distraction, we successfully routed them. Han Bing fell from his horse, his armor stained with blood. He forced his eyes open. "Miss, look, I lured them out for you." He knew just as I did that a gorge was a prime place for an ambush. However, as long as we secured Luoga Gorge, capturing the city would be imminent success and glory within reach. But such treacherous terrain required one to act as bait to draw the enemy hidden in the gorge, allowing me to trap them completely. Yet I wished not to sacrifice any soldier. They are all stalwart men who joining the army isn't to protect the home and earn glory, to return to their roots. In repeatedly driving the enemy back to Luoga Gorge and retreating helplessly to camp, I suddenly understood. Gumiwa, is it truly necessary for every commander to trade minimal sacrifice for maximum gain? Battles demand blood and sacrifice. Someone will always die, won't they? Han Bing knew my concerns and understood my difficulty. Thus, he led the willing soldiers, risking their lives to clear a path for me, helping seize Luoga Gorge. I wiped the blood from his lips. "You knew well I'm not Moyuan." He smiled. "Han Bing knows. But miss, you are my sturdy branch." Han Bing's eyes remained open as he passed. My hands trembled as I forcibly quelled the stirring emotions to close his eyes. After capturing Luoga Gorge, I received a scolding from General Sunday. "I've told you countless times, war requires gradual progress. You act too hasty, leading to the death of your comrades. How are you any different than Moyuan?" I willingly took military lashings, then cremated Han Bing and the fallen brothers in Luoga Gorge, carefully placing their ashes in boxes, awaiting the war's end. I shall take them home. In a few more years, the cities I captured increased, my military achievements multiplied, and my rank rose higher and higher. Just as I was about to risk it all to completely crush the L country and its royal city, other nations formed an alliance against our country, making me their prime target. His Majesty sent an order instructing me to focus on warfare without worrying about anything else. General Sun frowned deeply. "With 5 countries allied, how do you plan to respond?" I pondered for a moment and asked, "General, are these 5 nations truly so indestructible?" Between nations, interests always take precedence. Who doesn't have their own agenda? If they were truly united against my Q kingdom, how could they have allowed us to develop to this point? If even an individual with divergent interests can be attacked, how much more so can it be between great nations? General Sun drank a few cups of wine and wrote a letter, handing it to me. "I know you're skilled at capturing cities, but you need someone to aid you in strategy." After reading the letter, I understood the general and I seemed to think alike. Though General Sun and Moyuan did not get along, it didn't prevent him from acknowledging Moyuan's military talents. Moyuan received the letter and soon arrived. When he came, he brought no soldiers, but unexpectedly, he brought Su Lingxian. Not having seen her for years, she appeared even more weary. Seeing me in my battle attire, she was evidently stunned for a long time. Compared to her, Moyuan was much more composed. He looked at General Sun and said, "General Sun, vaunted as the contemporary deity of war, can you really think of no solution?" General Sun snorted. "You came without troops merely to mock me." "Not at all," Moyuan replied. "I thought you had a great warrior at your side. Instead, it's a source of trouble." "Who do you think is the source of trouble?" General Sun was furious. "At least the lady knows how to fight, which is better than you, who only knows how to deceive others' emotions." "What nonsense are you spouting?" As soon as they met, hostility flared between them. I really couldn't tolerate this and gestured invitingly towards Su Lingxian. "Madam, it's your first time here, let me show you around." Su Lingxian glanced at Moyuan and seeing that he made no objection, followed me with her head down while wandering. Su Lingxian appraised me curiously a few times. I touched my face. "What Do I have a flower on my face? No. I'm just very curious how a woman like you ended up in a military camp. I chuckled. Does Madam think that people like me should just be delicate little ladies managing the household? Su Lingxian opened her mouth, seemingly wanting to say something but ultimately saying nothing. I knew by now that my current appearance was even more weathered than hers, with one scar on my face that would never heal, turning what was once a flawless, beautiful face into something unsightly. For some reason, in her eyes, I saw a glimmer of sympathy. In truth, you don't have to go to such lengths to win back Moyuan. From beginning to end, he has always been devoted to you. I said nothing, merely watched her silently. She turned her back on me, continuing, he married me only out of duty and responsibility. When he said before the emperor that you couldn't endure hardship and weren't worthy of him, there wasn't a hint of contempt in his eyes. He's loyal and righteous. How could he speak harshly to a woman who waited for him for years? Ever since you achieved so many victories alongside General Sun, Moyuan has been restless, always regretting not keeping you back then. After hearing her words, I felt nothing in my heart. Between Gu Moyuan and me, I had already let go, with no lingering attachment whatsoever. He married Su Lingxian out of gratitude for her efforts, which left me with nothing to say. But if I were to continue following him, accompanying him in his conquest to help him achieve high rank and be honored and loved, it would never happen. In his eyes, I would always just be someone hiding behind him, under his protection. How could one speak of any great achievements or undertakings? I said calmly, by your words, should I thank him for his deep affection or reconcile with him immediately? Is it foolish to make yourself emotionally and physically exhausted over a man? Su Lingxian slyly wiped her face and then looked at the towering city walls. Li Jingsai, I can't compete with you. Why compete? I grabbed her wrist. Compared to Gu Moyuan, I need you more. Su Lingxian was startled. She looked at me blankly. What do you mean? You used to go to war with Gu Moyuan, serving as a strategist, devising battle plans, so he could consistently take you to the battlefield, right? Gu Moyuan is proud and wouldn't keep a woman by his side just out of pity. If Su Lingxian had no extraordinary qualities, how could he take notice of her? General Sun had told me too. Su Lingxian was both intelligent and courageous, helping Gu Moyuan win many battles. Unfortunately, she faced a lot of exclusion due to her identity as a woman, and her contributions were ignored, leaving her with no benefit despite her efforts. Just earlier, perhaps Su Lingxian's gaze held some envy towards me. Su Lingxian didn't immediately agree to me. At night, Gu Moyuan brought a jug of wine for us to drink under the moonlight. He looked at me for a long time, then softly said, "Why do you look older?" I replied, "After all these years out here, braving the elements, not aging would be strange." He sat down and turned over my wrist, seeing the thick calluses and dead skin on my hands. "Why did you become a soldier?" I pulled my hand back. "Of course, it's for establishing great achievements and defending our country." He didn't reply, just kept pouring himself more wine. After a long while, Gu Moyuan murmured, "If I hadn't married Lingxian, would you have been my wife?" I stood up, walked straight past him, and cupped my fists towards Su Lingxian, who was hidden in the shadows. A few days later, Su Lingxian came to see me. "I've been so good to him, stayed with him on the battlefield for years. You did nothing, yet his heart has always been with you."
Why?
Why? I walked toward her, pointing at her heart. "Because you've lived for him, lost yourself. If a person can't even hold on to themselves, how can anyone else take notice?" She trembled, letting her tears fall. I sighed. "If I'm not mistaken, Gu Moyuan from back then sincerely liked you. Otherwise, he wouldn't have married you. That was because your exceptional military strategy made him see you in a new light. Now that you've become nothing but a jealous woman, how could he not miss such a gentle and charming old lover like me who can also fight on the battlefield?" Su Lingxian was smart and quickly understood. She stayed in the barracks thereafter and offered extremely valuable and useful advice for the alliance against the 5 nations. One strategy was to sow discord. She also detailed a plan to implement the Discord strategy by magnifying the minor conflicts between countries, eventually successfully brokering an alliance with the most duplicitous nation, W country. Su Lingxian stayed with our army for a long time, tirelessly analyzing each country's different combat intentions for us, and from tiny details, she devised appropriate countermeasures. With her presence, dissolving the alliance of nations became less pressing. Moyuan's army headed north, combining forces with ours in a pincer attack, and repelled multiple sieges. Over time, the countries grew weary of the war, and no one wanted to be the first to attack our forces, so the so-called alliance naturally loosened. Thereafter, the state of L country was destroyed, and W country became a thorn in the side of other countries due to Su Lingxian's schemes, resulting in intense battles. Moyuan and I returned to the capital by imperial command and met the emperor. The emperor was quite young and examined me for a long time. I've long heard of Li Jingsai of S City, patiently waiting for Moyuan for years. I didn't expect you to transform from a secluded lady into a commanding general on the battlefield. Q country is fortunate to have such a figure, and I am comforted. Thank you, Your Majesty. He waved his hand generously, bestowing me many rewards, including a mansion. I rode to S City, where I saw my young brother hiding behind our mother, blinking curiously at me. Father and mother had graying hair and tears in their eyes. You're back. I rubbed my nose and knelt before my elderly parents. I'm back. Mother lifted me up. Leaving again? Looking at them, I hesitated for a moment before saying, I depart in 7 days. With the war not yet over, I naturally had to leave. Uncharacteristically, they said nothing more, leading me into the house where everyone stood aside, waiting for me to sit down. 7 days later, Su Lingxian entered the mansion to see me, radiant and blooming, a far cry from her former worried self. I teased her, ready to forsake husband and children to elope with me. Ugh, what elopement! I also wished to one day be ennobled and stand out as a great strategist in the annals of Q country. We mounted our horses and rode off into the breeze.